Manila, Philippine officials on Saturday ordered an evacuation of thousands of residents in the southern part of the main Luzon island as a Category 5 storm that is the world's strongest this year approaches the Southeast Asian nation. Typhoon Goni, with 133 miles sustained winds and gusts of up to 164 miles per hour, will make landfall on Sunday as the strongest typhoon to hit the Philippines since Haiyan that killed more than 6,300 people in 2014. Preemptive evacuations have started in coastal and landslide-prone communities in the provinces of Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur, while Albay provincial government would order residents in risky areas to leave their homes, Gremel Naz, a local disaster official, told DZBB radio station. The strength of this typhoon is no joke. Typhoon Molave last week killed 22 people, mostly through drowning in provinces south of the capital Manila, which is also in the projected path of Goni, the 18th tropical storm in the country. Authorities are facing another hurdle as social distancing needs to be imposed in evacuation centers to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The Philippines has the second highest COVID-19 infections and deaths in Southeast Asia, next only to Indonesia. Relief goods, heavy machinery and personal protective equipment are already positioned in key areas, Filipino Grace America, mayor of Infanta Town in Quezon Province, told DZBB Radio. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our funds for calamity concerns and expenses are insufficient. Local officials canceled port operations and barred fishers from setting sail. Typhoon Goni, moving westward at 12 miles per hour from the Pacific Ocean, will bring intense rains over the capital and 14 provinces nearby on Saturday evening, and threats of floods and landslides. Another typhoon, Atsani, is gaining strength just outside the Philippines. Around 20 typhoons hit the Philippines every year. On October 31st, as the world celebrates Fright and Terror, let's take a look at some fun films that will keep you at the edge of your seats. Kali Kuhi Still Halloween is incomplete without the chills, shrills and thrills, and OTT platforms have packed it all for a spooky binge therapy. From Amazon Prime Video to Netflix, the web has got it all to keep you engaged with the horrors and the trick-or-treats. On October 31st, as the world celebrates Fright and Terror, let's take a look at some fun films that will keep you at the edge of your seats. P.S. You'll surely sleep with the lights on after reading this list. Kali Kuhi. Ever since Netflix has announced Kali Kuhi, directed by Terry Samundra, the film has created a wave on social media. Courtesy, Sangeeta Sheikh's digital debut and Shabana Azmi's unibrow look. The film has been produced by Anku Pand and Ramon Chip, and features Shabana Azmi, Sangeeta Sheikh, Satyadeep Mishra and Riva Aurora in pivotal roles. A seemingly perfect romance turns into a nightmare when a mother becomes convinced her daughter's new boyfriend has a dark connection to her own past. Evil Eye is a 2020 American horror film directed by Elan and Rajiv Dasana and written by Madhuri Shekhar, based on her Audible original audio play of the same name. The film stars Sarita Chowdhury, Sunita Mani and Omar Mascati. Jason Blum and Priyanka Chopra serve as executive producers under their Blumhouse Productions and Purple Pebble Pictures banners respectively. Evil Eye was released on October 13, 2020, by Amazon Studios. His house, a refugee couple makes a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan, and struggle to adjust to their new life in an English town. What comes next is something they did not expect as their welcome gift. An evil lurking beneath the surface makes the family come up with voodoos to keep the ghost at the bay. His House is a 2020 thriller film written and directed by Remy Weeks from a story by Felicity Evans and Toby Venables. It stars Wunmi Mosaku, Soap Dirasu and Matt Smith. Keep scrolling to read more news. This comes after an earthquake hit the Aegean Sea off Turkey's western province of Izmir at around 11:50 GMT at a depth of 16.54 kilometers, and the epicenter was 17.26 kilometers off the Seferihisar district. Rescuers search for survivors in a collapsed building after a powerful earthquake struck Turkey's western coast and parts of Greece, in Izmir, in the early hours of October 31st. AFP. A search and rescue operation is underway in Izmir city after an earthquake with a magnitude of 7 on Richter scale hit the Aegean Sea, causing massive loss of life and property. As per Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency, the death toll stands at 17 so far, with 709 injured. According to Turkey's media reports, as many as 196 aftershocks were felt, with 23 hitting over magnitude 4 following the major earthquake in Izmir. Earlier today, in a televised speech, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said search and rescue operations are continuing in the ruins of 17 buildings. This comes after an earthquake hit the Aegean Sea off Turkey's western province of Izmir at around 11:50 GMT at a depth of 16.54 kilometers, and the epicenter was 17.26 kilometers off the Seferihisar district. Meanwhile, Turkey's presidential office said Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis and the Turkish president spoke over the phone after the earthquake, which also affected Greece. Erdogan and Mitsotakis exchanged wishes for a speedy recovery, the presidency announced in a written statement. Keep scrolling to read more news. The duo will share the screen in their upcoming British-Indian film Footprints on Water. Adil Hussain. Indian actor Adil Hussain and British actor Antonio Akil will share the screen in their upcoming British-Indian film Footprints on Water. According to reports, Footprints on Water will narrate the story of an illegal immigrant father in the United Kingdom, who is frantically searching for his missing daughter while trying to avoid the police. Through this search, the film will portray the lives of immigrants of various nationalities who arrive in the UK hoping to turn their lives around. The film, written by Neetha Siam, will be helmed by Natalia Siam. This story is written by two sisters and it feels like they have painted their first-hand experience in words, Hussain said in an interview. I feel the truthfulness in their endeavor. The dreams, the hope, demolition of the dreams, the realization as to what are the most important aspects in life, are engagingly interwoven in the narrative, he added. While Hussain plays the role of the father, Akil will play an Afghani refugee. As immigrants of Indian origin brought up in Britain, we have had a ringside view into the lives of various people, their cultures and ethnicities. Neetha's script will be visually approached by elements of realism. We are, said Natalia. The shoot will take place in and around Birmingham by December. Keep scrolling to read more news. Meanwhile, officials in Victoria State reported just one new case of COVID-19 on Saturday as Melbourne residents head into a weekend of greater social freedom. This picture has been used for representational purposes. Australia has announced it will spend 500 million Australian dollars, 351 million United States dollars, to secure COVID-19 vaccines for the Pacific and Southeast Asia as part of a shared recovery for our region from the pandemic. The government said it would use a range of advance purchase agreements with manufacturers via the Global COVAX Facility Plan, which aims to ensure virus vaccines are shared with all nations. We are committing an additional 500 million Australian dollars over 3 years towards this effort, it said. The funding will further help ensure that the countries of the Pacific and East Timor are able to achieve full immunization coverage, and will make a significant contribution toward meeting the needs of Southeast Asia. A fast, safe vaccine rollout will mean we are able to return to more normal travel, tourism and trade with our key partners in the region. Meanwhile, officials in Victoria State reported just one new case of COVID-19 on Saturday as Melbourne residents head into a weekend of greater social freedom. Figures from the state's health department show an average of just 2.4 new cases per day for the past 14 days. The easing of restrictions means families can visit each other at home. A 25-kilometer, 15-mile travel limit remains in place and outdoor gatherings are still capped at 10 people. It will be an emotional weekend for many people who have been unable to see their families or close friends for months. Victoria's COVID-19 death toll stands at 819 and the national figure is 907. State Premier Daniel Andrews did not face the media on Saturday, bringing his daily news conference marathon to an end. The state leader had held news conferences for 120 consecutive days starting in July 3. Keep scrolling to read more news. Selena Gomez has always been open about her health struggles. Selena Gomez. Picture courtesy Selena Gomez Instagram account. Singer Selena Gomez on Thursday, local time, reflected on her mental health journey as she had a remote chat session with the Democratic Senator and vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris. The Fetish singer posted the video of the chat on her Instagram. According to E! News, Harris said that she and presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden are fighting to hold onto the Affordable Care Act and expand it. During the talk session, I myself have, shared my story about my mental health journey, and I just read too much, I think, about how deep that this country is being affected mentally. I've had so many dreams about, creating places that people could go to, Gomez replied. I think there's a part of me that wishes we had some sort of place that felt like, okay, maybe you just need to get help. You know, it should be something that people can understand and break down, because I truly know that this is something that's important to me, she added. The 28-year-old singer has always been open about her health struggles. She had spent time in treatment centers for her anxiety and depression issues in 2018. She was also hospitalized for autoimmune disease, lupus, and a kidney transplant that she underwent in 2017. We still have a lot of work to do, and it's something I care deeply about and I look forward to working with you on it, E! News quoted Harris as saying. Heaping praises on Gomez, Harris said that Gomez has become an incredible voice on the issue of lupus, which disproportionately affects women of color. Earlier on October 22, the ice cream singer said that she had voted for the first time. Keep scrolling to read more news. A Maine woman who sent a threatening letter to Senator Susan Collins after her vote to confirm Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in 2018 has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Suzanne Muscara, 38, was convicted last November of mailing what she said was a joke letter containing white powder and the word anthrax to the Maine lawmaker's home. The missive was intercepted by the U.S. Postal Inspection Service at a mail sorting facility in Hampton on October 17, 2018, less than 2 weeks after Kavanaugh was confirmed to the Supreme Court. The envelope contained a note with a stick figure drawing of the Maine Republican, with X's for eyes and the tongue sticking out, along with the words anthrax. Ha ha ha. FBI tests showed that the white powder was harmless. It was intercepted 2 days after Collins' husband, Tom Daffron, had opened a letter claiming to contain ricin. Muscara was identified by a fingerprint and arrested in April 2019. Prosecutors said the Burlington woman was upset with Collins over one of her votes in the Senate. Muscara told investigators she didn't think her letter would be taken seriously. She has been jailed for 2 years already, time that counts toward her sentence. On Thursday, U.S. District Judge Lance E. Walker imposed the 30-month sentence on Muscara, who had faced up to 10 years in prison. U.S. Attorney Halsey Frank stressed that anthrax, a deadly substance, was no laughing matter. American politics is premised on free speech and vigorous debate, Frank said. True threats are not protected speech. They are a crime. In a statement, Collins said she and her husband were grateful for the vigilance of the postal inspectors, and the extraordinary professionalism and effective investigative work of state and federal law enforcement officers. Typhoon Goni will bring intense rains over the capital and 14 provinces. Philippine officials on Saturday ordered evacuation of thousands of residents in the southern part of the main Luzon island as a Category 5 storm that is the world's strongest this year approaches the Southeast Asian nation. Typhoon Goni, with 215 km per hour sustained winds and gusts of up to 265 km per hour, will make landfall on Sunday as the strongest typhoon to hit the Philippines since Haiyan that killed more than 6,300 people in November 2013. Preemptive evacuations have started in coastal and landslide-prone communities in the provinces of Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur, while Albay provincial government would order residents in risky areas to leave their homes, Gremel Naz, a local disaster official, told DZBB radio station. The strength of this typhoon is no joke. Typhoon Molave last week killed 22 people, mostly through drowning in provinces south of the capital Manila, which is also in the projected path of Goni, the 18th tropical storm in the country. Authorities are facing another hurdle as social distancing needs to be imposed in evacuation centers to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The Philippines has the second highest COVID-19 infections and deaths in Southeast Asia, next only to Indonesia. Relief goods, heavy machinery and personal protective equipment are already positioned in key areas, Filipino Grace America, mayor of Infanta Town in Quezon Province, told DZBB Radio. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our funds for calamity concerns and expenses are insufficient. Local officials canceled port operations and barred fishers from setting sail. Typhoon Goni, moving westward at 20 km per hour from the Pacific Ocean, will bring intense rains over the capital and 14 provinces nearby on Saturday evening, and threats of floods and landslides. Another typhoon, Atsani, is gaining strength just outside the Philippines. Around 20 typhoons hit the Philippines every year.